Job.
You're muted, Mark.
Oops, wrong intro. Anyway,
Great, now we're gonna get copyright striked.
we're not going to get a strike. Stop being a pussy. Anyway, I am KitchenAid Whiskey Jones. Welcome to our Cool Kids live review of Oppenheimer. You know the format, you know how it works. Round table, going around, blah, blah, blah. I'll start off and we'll just go around the horn. So this is, of course, let me just pull up my review here. Christopher Nolan's latest masterpiece. And I do mean masterpiece. When J. Robert Oppenheimer was asked what he thought later about the bomb, he said, "We knew the world would not be the same. 2 people laughed, a few people cried, most people were silent. I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him, takes on his multi-armed form and says, 'Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.' I suppose we all felt that way one way or another." Those haunting words, like the atomic explosion that inspired them, reverberate through history and shake us to our core to this very day. The complicated figure behind these words, the man who unleashed the horrors of nuclear war upon mankind, forms the subject of Christopher Nolan's latest masterpiece. Using his signature nonlinear storytelling style, Nolan brilliantly managed to do this towering figure justice by painting a complex portrait of this latter-day Prometheus that appropriately leaves more questions than answers as to the man and his terrifying legacy. Nolan structures this film around 2 inquests, one a panel of the Atomic Energy Commission formed to investigate J. Robert Oppenheimer as a security risk, and the other a senatorial subcommittee investigating whether or not Oppenheimer's former boss at the AEC, Louis Strauss, deserves confirmation as Commerce Secretary in the Eisenhower administration. The film definitely switches back and forth between color and black and white, with Nolan himself explaining that the former represents objective scenes while the latter represents subjective ones. Oppenheimer's past is presented via flashbacks between the questioning in both inquests, which follow certain common themes and questions. This allows our filmmaker to present different points of view on Oppenheimer while telling his story, challenging the audience to see the past not only as it was, but also in light of what came after. And when you're dealing with someone as important to history as Dr. J. Robert Oppenheimer, this is the only way to properly tell this story. A lesser filmmaker would have went with a more linear narrative and missed much of the magic that Nolan creates. The film excels in every way. The editing brilliantly interweaves the 3 main narratives into a seamless whole. The highly talented cast all give outstanding performances, while Cillian Murphy as Oppenheimer, Robert Downey Jr. as Louis Strauss, and Emily Blunt as Kitty Oppenheimer as the standouts. As alluded to before, the cinematography is gorgeous, a beautiful mix of black and white and color. The sound effects and music help set the mood, creating an atmosphere of paranoia and impending doom. At a technical level alone, the film is a marvel to behold, exactly what you would expect from someone like Nolan. Yet the best part of the film for me is not what it says, but what it doesn't say. Christopher Nolan is not telling you how to think about J. Robert Oppenheimer in this film. He lays out the facts along with some subjective points of view, including the unthinkable implications of what he unleashed upon mankind that fateful day of July 16, 1945. What should his legacy be? Did he shorten the war, or did he merely create the terrifying possibility of another far worse? Is he a good man who got caught up in the excitement of war and later had an attack of conscience, or is he self-important hypocrite? He only sought to secure his own place in history. Is he a hero turned martyr by Cold War paranoia and insider politics, or is he somehow all of the above? That's for you to decide, just as it's up to us to decide what to do with the monster created by Dr. J. Robert Oppenheimer. And that is why my rating for this masterpiece, not only the best film of the year I've seen, but the best I think that Nolan has ever done, and one of the best I've ever seen is a perfect 10 out of 10. Well, so it'll show it. There we go. Well, there it comes up. There it goes. All right. So next is Cinematic Sterling. Devin, take it away.
I was anticipating Oppenheimer from the moment it was announced. Not just because it's Christopher Nolan, but I've always been super fascinated with World War II, the Cold War, and the trailers looked incredible, and it looked like Nolan would redeem himself after the pretentious, bloated, confusing, boring, and poorly sound mixed Tenet. After seeing it in a packed theater last night, did it live up to my expectations? What did I think of Nolan's newest offering? Chris, I forgive you for Tenet. All the acting in this movie is fantastic. Nolan is a director who knows how to get fantastic performances from his actors. Cillian Murphy is perfectly casted as Oppenheimer. He looks like the real person. He does a phenomenal job making you invested in the character. Emily Blunt, Robert Downey Jr., Matt Damon, Florence Pugh, Josh Hartnett, Rami Malek, Kenneth Branagh were all incredible. And Gary Oldman and Tom Conti were spot on as President Truman and Albert Einstein. Yeah, I actually didn't know that was Gary Oldman as Truman. That shocked the hell out of me. I love the structure of this movie. I like a good nonlinear story, because it talks about Oppenheimer's days at university and being a teacher, to him building the bomb, his eventual regret, his trial. I just love that. The dialogue is very well written. I like dialogue-heavy movies as long as I'm invested in the story and the characters, and this was no exception. Which is why some of my favorite movies of all time are 12 Angry Men, Breakfast Club, Clerks, Reservoir Dogs, and most recently, one of my favorite movies of the year, The Artifice Girl. The visuals are strong here, especially when Oppenheimer is having visions of the damage the bomb does. Like when he's talking and he sees the crowd people chanting his name, like evaporating and rotting from the nuclear blast, and that the background is out of focus and is shaking behind him. I absolutely loved that visual. And the scene where the bomb first drops, that was such a strong, powerful, and effective scene. I have not seen my theater that quiet since the opening of Wakanda Forever. Score is well composed. And lastly, this movie fixed a recurring problem I've been having with Nolan's recent movies. The sound mixing for once didn't suck. I could actually understand what the characters were saying. And people weren't, I didn't have to deal with people, having conversations. All you hear is Tenet. And the reason I can't say it's a 10 out of 10 is because I have one issue with this movie, and this might be a hot take. I did think the movie was a little too long. I think there could have been a good 20, maybe 30 minutes cut out of the movie. And I don't know why every movie needs to be super long nowadays. As much as, one of my favorite movies last year was The Batman. As much as I love that movie, I'll admit that movie didn't need to be 3 hours. But I would say a long running time for this movie makes sense, unlike shit like Babylon or Beau Was Afraid. But in conclusion, this was a fantastic movie. Great return to form for Nolan, and definitely one of the best movies I've seen all year. The acting, the characters, the visuals, the writing, all of it, everything worked here. If you're a fan of Nolan, you're fascinated by World War II and the atomic age, you love historical epics, or if you just want to participate in the Barbenheimer trend, absolutely give this a watch in theaters. You will not regret it. My rating, I'm not going 10 out of 10, but I will go 9 out of 10.
Oh,
9 out of 10.
Yes.
There we go.
There. Jeez. I don't know what's up with the delay. All right. Okay. And right, dude.
All
your
right.
turn. Take it away.
Okay, so let me state that Christopher Nolan is a fantastic film director. Even though I haven't seen all of his movies, including the most recent one, Tenet, mainly because I've just heard how overly pretentious for so many people. I mean, the ones that I have seen just blow me away before with Memento being one of my favorites of his. So when I saw the trailer for Oppenheimer, I was beyond excited. I actually was able to see it with my buddy at the very end, Mark. We went to go see an IMAX together. And I will say that after seeing it, I could say that this movie wasn't good. It was fucking amazing. Ha ha ha! Got you there with that statement. Holy shit, was this movie the bomb, pun intended. And I can now say that this movie has now dethroned Memento as my favorite Nolan movie. The acting is great all around. Cillian Murphy, Robert Downey Jr., Emily Blunt, Florence Pugh, every single one. Kenneth Branagh, even Gary Oldman, who I had no idea that he was Truman until my man pointed it out. So I didn't know either until you pointed it out. But yeah, not one lackluster performance. The cinematography is excellent. The different camera angles, the color contrast, etc. It all works very, very well here. The story is very well told. I mean, usually Nolan ends up telling a story in like a non-linear kind of way and tells the audience to piece things together to make them think like adults, which is something I love. It never felt jumbled, nor did it have any kind of lack of focus. I will disagree. I know that I know Devin has mentioned about how how it didn't need to be 3 hours, but it to me the run. I never felt the run time. This could have kept going, and I would have still been invested. The pacing was just very well done, and I was just not bored with it. And yes, as he said, it is very dialogue heavy, and it focuses on you get invested in the story and the characters through mountains of dialogue. And I love movies that do that, like 12 Angry Men or Artifice Girl, where, as I said, you get very investigated with like a lot of heavy dialogue, which is what it's meant to be to get you invested. And now this is the part of the review where I discuss any kind of negatives, but truth be told, I really can't think of any. Yeah, yeah, I know. This is a surprise, right? But this is a perfect Nolan movie to check out this weekend. If you're a big Nolan fan or just interested in the atomic age and World War II and all. This is one that I would highly, highly recommend. I know we're more than halfway through 2023 here, but I could already see this being in my top 5 so far. And that is why my rating is also a perfect 10 out of 10.
Hey, by the way, yeah, the only reason I knew that Gary Oldman played Truman is I saw it in the credits.
Yeah, because what it was is I went to go use the bathroom, and then when I came back, he was like, "Did you know that was Gary Oldman as Truman?"
And your jaw dropped. His jaw.
I know.
Jesus. But okay, I guess next would be John, the Geek Informant. Or do you need more time, John? John, Geek Informant.
Johnny boy.
I think you said he wanted to go last.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Rome, your turn.
Sorry, I'm going last. My bad. Sorry.
That's fine.
It's all good, man. So I'm also going to be sucking Nolan's dick for this movie as well because this movie was fantastic. This would definitely make somebody who want to go down that rabbit hole and find out more about Dr. Robert Oppenheimer because this movie is one of his best movies he's ever done. It's one of the best biopics in recent memory. It's one of the best political thrilling type kind of movies. The movie, in my opinion, took some inspiration from JFK, Oliver Stone's JFK movie, Robert Redfield's All President's Men. Performances are all great. Everybody did a fantastic job. Robert Downey Jr. steals the show for me with Louis Strauss. He did a phenomenal job, especially some of the big reveals at the very end of the movie, where you're like, "Holy shit!" Like I didn't see this coming. So
Yeah.
they did a really good job, showing you stuff, but then telling you stuff until the very end, where you start going back to certain things you see in the beginning of the movie, which was phenomenal. And again, I believe Devin said, the audio, there's no issues with the audio. The audio, for once, you can actually hear what everybody's saying. There's no like in and out. There's no mumble jumble. Everything was really good. I mean, this might have been one of Nolan's, I think, probably the best editing version Nolan's ever done since maybe Mementos that I can think of, or Interstellar. It's one of those two. But I do want to say that the score for this movie by Ludwig, he did a phenomenal job as well. I can't say his last name properly, but Ludwig, especially in those scenes where he's like talking in those courtrooms and a lot of dialogue, the music is just keeps you really invested in what they're saying, especially with like the drums and the banging and the intense moments, especially those long scenes. And he does a phenomenal job really keeping you invested and not feel bored at certain moments when you're watching the movie. It's easily one of the best films of 2023. Like I said, one of the best biopics, one of the best political thriller film that I've seen in some time. My score is also a perfect 10 out of 10.
Hold on a sec. Just got to finish the one last sentence. Hold on a sec. I want to just make sure to get this really right because this deserves all the right it can get.
I got you, man.
Sorry. There we go. Yeah, I agree. It really does. Phenomenal film.
Oh, it is.
You're good. But I would just blow it. I never ever would have imagined that was Gary Oldman. The man is a chameleon.
I know, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He's the modern man of 1,000 faces.
Really
I know.
is.
I mean, he also. It was the same. It was the same way for Darkest Hour when he played Winston Churchill. You honestly didn't even recognize.
Yes, he's literally
Dracula, dude.
Yeah.
He has played literally Truman and
Ludwig.
Churchill now.
Exactly.
Now he just needs to play Stalin to complete the. He needs to play
Don't put
Stalin
it
and
past him.
Roosevelt. He needs to play Stalin and Roosevelt.
And our lives are complete.
Seriously.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Now that's a cinematic universe I want to see.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, now I'm ready. Sorry, I just wanted to type out that last few sentences. Okay. Oppenheimer. I'm just going to say this. I don't care if all you motherfuckers disagree with me. Catherine Oppenheimer is a better feminist icon than Barbie. Don't at me. Another Nolan masterpiece. This shouldn't be a shock to anyone, so let's just try to get through this as quick as we can. The performances are extraordinary. If I were to name every single person of the cast, we would be here all fucking day. But the core group of Cillian Murphy, Emily Blunt, Matt Damon, Florence Pugh, and Robert Downey Jr. were all excellent, especially Downey. Holy fucking shit. Years and years of seeing him in Marvel movies made me forget. Holy fucking shit, he's a great fucking actor. He stole the show easily. He was absolutely tremendous as Louis Strauss. If Oscar season comes around and he isn't nominated, I'm rioting. Words cannot describe how fantastic he was. It really is his greatest performance in his best film. I mean, everyone was fantastic. Do not get me wrong. They were all absolutely fucking brilliant, but specifically Downey was the best of them all. The cinematography was beautiful, especially the differences between the two POVs of Oppenheimer and Strauss, color and black and white. Black and white cinematography is very hard to get right in this day and age, and Nolan, being an auteur who knows this craft inside and out, does in fact get it right. Mank, this is not, thank God. The effects were few and far between, but the shots of the visions, the chemistry that Oppenheimer was like, how he like saw the world were like really cool, and obviously the explosion was fucking brilliant. However, Nolan managed to do that. I applaud him, and I hope he never, just like David Lynch, I hope he never reveals it, because I don't even want to know how he managed to capture that on film. The score was very effective as it used, for lack of a better word, the sounds of the environment of physics in the score. It was very cool. Like it used like the nuclear fission and like the foot tapping and all that. It was just how it used its environment to its advantage was really, really cool. I thought it was very well paced. It is not a movie that feels like 3 hours, and I absolutely commend it for that. I feel like every minute was purposeful to the overall narrative, and if I feel that, then you used your running time correctly, unlike Avengers Endgame, The Batman, or Beau is Afraid. The story is brilliant. It refuses to give you answers and spoon feed you. It simply presents the information of Oppenheimer as a certain figure and has you make the conclusions on what you think he is. Thank God, but again, I expect nothing less from a master at work. There is a lot of nuance and subtlety in the storytelling of Oppenheimer as this scientific figure. Did a lot of good and did a lot of bad. It's not as clear-cut as people think it is. And frankly, if you think it's black and white, good and evil, quite frankly, you are a fucking idiot. Calling this movie Nolan's best and a masterpiece just feels right. It feels like the culmination of an almost 3-decade career poured into this movie, and it absolutely fucking works on pretty much every level. The only negative I have is that the editing in the first half is a bit too quick, lots of quick shots going back and forth, and it felt a little discerning and ADHD at points. But outside of that, it was excellent. Overall, this is a perfect fucking movie. Go fucking see it, please. This is a cinematic experience that needs to be, for the lack of a better word, experienced. 9.5 out of 10.
Weird question. Would you say you liked this more than Evil Dead Rise, or would you say Evil Dead Rise is still your favorite?
Evil Dead Rise is still my favorite of the year. Spoiler alert. But this is the best movie I've seen all year, easily.
Fair.
I think for me personally, it's the best. I liked it's my third favorite of the year so far. I liked Inside and Evil Dead Rise just a little bit more.
Scroll.
But that's just
I
me.
think.
What about Artifice Scroll?
I thought it was better than Artifice Girl.
Wow.
I like it more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with John on that one. I thought it was better than Artificial Girl as well.
Yeah, I'm with yeah. Oh, hey, Rob is in there.
Hey, what's up?
What's up, man? Hey,
Good, Rob.
it's great, Rob. It's Robert. It's great. Really great. Quite a film. See it in IMAX if you can.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If you can see it in the IMAX 70mm, then that's.
Oh yeah, jeez.
If you did, you are so. I'm so jealous.
I don't even know if there's any in Florida, honestly, because the closest to me is like Atlanta and Nashville. Yeah,
Atlanta's like what, a 4 or 5 hour drive from us?
Yeah, it's like 6 hour drive. Yeah,
that's like Mm-hmm.
Nashville, I think it's 8 or 10.
Yeah, I plan on seeing it. I'm an IMAX 77mm next Tuesday, not this Tuesday, but the following Tuesday.
Oh, geez.
Providence. It's like 35, 40 minutes away from me, so I'm gonna see it, and I'm gonna see it the way Nolan has it as. So I'm excited.
Like they had to actually enlarge the projector booths of certain theaters to show this thing, man. That reel is just freaking massive, man. It's huge.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only 19 theaters going to show it in the way.
Yeah, 19. Only 19 in the United States and only 30 in the world.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. Only 30 in the world. We have another comment.
I agree.
The overall feel of dread throughout the movie was awesome, and the anticipation was the bomb drops. Was incredible.
Oh yeah,
I agree.
That was wow.
Perfect.
Yeah, the silence.
I still feel like my review just didn't do it justice. Like I say this a lot for a lot of movies on my channel, but like if there is any movie that you need to experience, it's this one.
Oh yeah,
most definitely. Yeah. I know it's not going to be for everyone because the nature of it is very disturbing and it's like depressing and sad and it'll make a lot of people angry because of what did happen. But it's still one. The old classic term: the people who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Yeah. So you need to learn about the history of it to really understand it, and again, it just
one of the I agree with you because I feel
no,
the
I
same
know.
way
It's just,
on
I mean, as a history teacher, you should.
Yeah.
I mean, history
exactly.
fan, you of all people should know. So
And I really appreciate that he did not give any easy answers. He painted a very complex portrait of this man because he was a very complicated man. I mean, he was a genius too. I mean, the part about learning Dutch in 6 weeks and then giving a lecture on a freaking quantum physics, that actually happened. He was just that smart. Yeah, he learned Dutch in 6 weeks and gave a lecture on quantum physics. I mean,
I think one of my favorite parts is once he starts teaching. At first, it starts off with one student, then it cuts to a small amount, then it cuts to more, then more, then more, and then more.
Yeah, exactly.
I love how, as I said, it just say as I said in my review, saying this is Nolan's movie just feels right to say.
Yeah.
It feels so right to say.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I actually like Tenet. I thought it was good.
I did
too. Maybe I'm just fucking smarter than all of you people.
I liked it too. I mean, hey,
but
I haven't seen it, so I can't comment.
I've always defended Tenet.
Tenet I thought was pretty good. I like the Batman trilogy despite its problems in this day and age. They're not as perfect as a lot of people say there, but
I agree again.
And I if I were to say his weakest movie to me is probably Interstellar. Like I liked that initially, but then as time went on, I'm like,
I still love Interstellar. I still love it.
Dunkirk I liked. I thought it was good.
I still love it as well.
In terms of like
I still like Dunkirk.
I think
war,
in
terms of war movies with like a ticking clock, I thought 1917 did it way fucking better.
Oh yes,
no fucking contest.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, of course.
But all of his movies are genuinely really great. I know he has like some weaker ones here and there, but he is a man of his craft. He respects the filmmaking art form, and because I have respect for him. So, and this just it just feels like everything, just every single thing is just so right.
As I said in my review, it's like before this movie, my favorite Nolan movie was Memento.
Yeah.
So I love that movie.
I love
only movies of his I need to see Interstellar, Dunkirk, and Insomnia. I've seen his other movies. In fact, I just recently watched Inception and The Prestige.
Oh yeah,
nice. Insomnia is a great one. Insomnia
to me,
pretty much anything before Batman Begins I have not seen. I haven't seen Insomnia, Prestige, Following. I haven't seen any of them.
You haven't seen Memento?
No, I haven't.
I've seen Memento.
Memento's great.
I know.
It is.
Probably the best.
Memento's great. Memento's fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I would if I were to pick his weakest one, since I haven't seen Tenet, I probably would have to go with Dunkirk, to be honest.
I really like Dunkirk. I mean, I love
it's not a bad film. Overrated, sure, but
I mean, I really like that they told. He's got 3 stories going on at once, and he kind of. I love how he kind of blends them, because you have.
I thought it was done better here, though. I will.
Yeah. The boats, the planes, the air battle, the boats coming to rescue the soldiers, and you got the soldiers themselves on the beach. So, I mean, I'm up for as many World War II movies as this guy decides to make.
Oh, pull up the new comments. Pull up the new comment.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's on point.
Exactly.
He's on point.
What the movie nailed was having the audience almost choose whether or not to root for Oppenheimer.
Exactly.
Or maybe just a man wanted to see if his science will work. Exactly.
Exactly.
Thank
you.
It's just
thank you.
It's refreshing to see like so many people like get it. Because I talk with my friends and my family or certain family members about this, and they're like, "Oh, it's just Oppenheimer's evil. He did the worst thing ever. fuck him. It's like, no, it's a lot more shade of
Yeah.
gray and nuance than that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a lot more to it than just like, oh, this guy did this incredibly terrible thing. Fuck him. He deserves to burn in hell. No, it's not that. And again, if you think like that, you're just a fucking idiot. And you should see this movie. And it's like the same people like, oh, I refuse to see it because like I don't like it. It's like, you should see it because it should be experienced because you need to learn the fucking history behind it.
And it really does a good job. I mean, like with, the basically prosecutor, in the inquest where they were deciding on whether or not to renew his security clearance for the Atomic Energy Commission. And then, with Robert Downey Jr.'s speech at the end, he really gives you another point of view that maybe he is kind of a hypocrite. I mean, he didn't have he's like you said, you didn't have a problem with dropping the bomb in Hiroshima, but now all of a sudden you have a problem with dropping a thermonuclear bomb. So what did you develop this conscience all of a sudden? So, and, it's like Robert Downey Jr. points out, he's self-important, I mean,
He's a narcissist.
It doesn't say he necessarily is, he's just kind of giving you another point of view. So I mean, he just kind of leaves it open for you. I like what he said.
Letting the audience think for themselves.
Exactly.
What a fucking thought!
I've said it.
Let the audience think like adults.
Exactly. I've said it again and again and again.
Self-question authority.
I love movies that challenge audience to think for yourself, and that's what I really, really love that comment there. So yeah, that's right.
I mean, I love the fact that
he does know that.
I love the fact that in the whole movie he's being described as very integrity, has a lot of integrity, and he's trying to do the right thing the entire movie. He thinks he's trying to fight for the greater good and all these things that the government's selling him as, and then at the end it's like Nazis are gone, Nazis have been defeated, Hitler's been killed. We just made these 2 bombs. What are we doing with them now? And then it's like we're just going to drop them on Japan, and
exactly.
He's kind of left in a because he sold everybody like, hey, we're going after Nazis, because the people he brought in, they trusted him because of how much integrity he had, and like that integrity was also his downfall.
Exactly. I mean, because like they say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, And I love what he said. I love the quote he put at the beginning. Prometheus brought fire to mankind, and for this, he was chained to a rock and tortured for all eternity. So, Oppenheimer was a tortured man after the war.
Yeah. Did any of you guys ever felt like after seeing the movie, felt awful and like really like disgusted because you're like, as
really.
people,
there was just a lot of thoughts. There was just a lot to think about.
Yeah.
Not necessarily good or bad, just a lot to think about.
Yeah.
But it just makes you think. World War I created the AKs, the guns. World War II evolved to like, here's the A bomb.
Nuclear war.
It's scary to think like, what's World War III going to change if it ever happens?
Well, the idea.
I don't know with what weapons World War III will be fought, but I know that World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones.
Exactly. Thank you.
I thought Mark would appreciate that.
Yes, I was just about to say that. Thank you, John. Einstein. Yeah. Exactly.
To me, the idea of being nuked always terrified me. Like I am afraid of getting wiped out in a blast because atomic bomb is one thing because you get the radiation poisoning. H bomb, you're fucked. I mean, you're gonna be screwed either way, but with H bomb, like that,
sure
can
Burgess
wipe
Meredith
out
in that
completely.
Twilight Zone episode.
I mean,
that's a great.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you know what? As the only one who grew up here during the Cold War, who remembers it. I remember it started to really heat up, especially in the early 80s, I mean, we saw, but the thing is, after this just sudden collapse of the Soviet Union and the fall of the Berlin Wall, everybody just kind of assumed we were safe. That, we had avoided Armageddon. The Soviet Union was was fallen. The Cold War's done. But now, honestly, the more I think about it, the worse I feel because you have more nuclear proliferation now. You have more states getting nuclear weapons, and you have the possibility of a terrorist getting some kind of a nuclear, even just a dirty bomb. So, I mean, it's a terrifying world because the more states get nuclear weapons, the greater the likelihood that somebody's going to use them.
Look at North Korea. They have nuclear missiles. Kim Jong-il spent most of the time instead of being his people to investigate a nuclear bomb.
Well, I mean, hey, look, an Indian general once said, because India and Pakistan are bitter enemies and have been since independence. And, they fought several wars against each other. And then the Indian general once said that they had actually calculated that they could afford a nuclear war with Pakistan because they have far more people than Pakistan. I think Pakistan has like 200 million, I want to say. India has like, 1.3 billion. So they figure, hey, we can afford a nuclear war with Pakistan. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
It is.
It is.
Yeah. Because, the collateral damage, even just the radiation, crying out loud, man, that could really mess things up.
And what I appreciate about this movie was it didn't show you the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki because everyone already knows. They didn't show the aftermath. I always preach show don't tell.
Yes,
but this is an instance where it worked.
Exactly, and I kept expecting them to show images, and he didn't. He did not like,
and that was very.
When they're in the theater and they're talking about
like,
the bomb.
You know why?
Exactly.
And it feeds into the idea of not spoon feeding the audience what Oppenheimer was, because I feel like including.
Okay, hold on. Let me say something. I think that was supposed to be flipped. The color was objective, so color was a fact. It was objective. The black and white was subjective. The black and white was up to interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I thought. Well, what I thought it was, again, that could feed into that, but I thought it was Strauss's and Oppenheimer's POVs. That's why I mentioned him.
Somebody else mentioned that too.
But yeah, I thought him including the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki would have just feeded into a certain viewpoint of anti all of this. So I'm glad he didn't, because that would have just fed into what clearly Nolan was not trying to say. Again, like just presenting information.
Yeah. And it would have taken you out of the film too if you just show all that too.
That was not Oppenheimer's story again. And what I loved about this, what I didn't expect, but I appreciated it. There's a reason it's called Oppenheimer and not the Manhattan Project. Exactly. It is about him, and like showing the bombings would have just been like, well, it would have taken you out of it, because that's not the story that Nolan is telling. It's about him. Like, it's about what the development from the Apple to post aftermath of everything, and that story. And I'm glad it was not shown.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I love the reaction though. The reaction to his colleagues after the whole thing happened, and you just get their reaction from what they've seen or heard, them throwing up, them really feeling disgust, those kind of things as well. Just to add on, but
yeah, it would have felt like lurid and sensational. It would have felt cheap. It
would have felt like melodramatic and like
exactly
like seeing like a bunch of Japanese people crying and like vaporized. It would have been like a blowhard fucking thing.
Yeah, I've shown the pictures before in my class just because I think they need to see that. Because I think that you really need to see that, and I have students like get uncomfortable. Like, I'm sorry, I think you can leave the room if you need, but this is just, I think this is just something.
It's history.
Oh yeah, it is. It's history. I'm like, see, and I'm not necessarily, and I try to present both points of view. I say, look, there's an argument that this was necessary. That like you said, it could have caused hundreds of thousands of casualties on both sides, if not millions, on the Japanese side. An invasion of Japan,
that's what. I was going to mention that as well. Like the raid, it's like, oh, it would have been more humane. Would it have been?
They were literally training children, girls in school,
because
to become suicide bombers.
And I've said this to the people who are going to watch it, or the people that have watched it. Fucking Japan knew they were probably not gonna win, but they were in survivalist mode, and that and I'm sorry, I know in this day and age it's going to be seen as offensive, but like the Japanese in fucking World War II were fucking batshit insane. Like they really were, because of like it was from a cultural.
They were.
From a fucking cultural point of view, with honor bound and all that shit, they were
Unit
fucking crazy.
731, dude.
I mean, yeah, they literally tortured prisoners because to surrender in Japanese culture was to lose your honor, because it was your duty to die for the emperor. That's why they committed
a really fucked up movie about Unit 731, which I do not recommend any of you watch, is Men Behind the Sun. Yikes. And even that, like, yeah, the Japan during World War II, they were crazy. They were crazy. They were relentless, and they were not. And unless they dropped this bomb, they were not gonna stop.
They wouldn't.
Even then, now look at what all happened within a span of 5 days, between the 6th and the 9th, and then 5 days after the 14th. But within a span of 3 or 4 days, you had 2 nuclear bombs dropped, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and then the Soviet Union declared war on Japan because they were afraid they weren't getting a peace. So I mean, the Soviet Union declared Stalin declared war on Japan.
Mark, since you know better than me, what bomb was dropped on? Which one went to Fat Man? Which one went to Little Boy? Which one?
Fat Man was the uranium bomb. That was actually bigger, and you could tell because like he was showing the amount of uranium.
The amount of uranium and plutonium they have.
Fat Man was the bigger one, so that was the uranium bomb dropped on Hiroshima.
Okay.
Little Boy was the one dropped on. Actually, I might have that backwards. Wait a second, I might have that backwards.
Yeah, because I'm not sure which I'm just from a curiosity.
Yeah, Fat Man was Nagasaki. Little Boy was. Fat Man was the plutonium bomb. Fat Man was the plutonium bomb. You're right. Fat Man was the plutonium bomb. And matter of fact, the Trinity test, that was a plutonium bomb. That was a plutonium bomb because they had more plutonium than uranium. So, they had enough material to make 3 bombs. There was the one that exploded at the Trinity test. That was a plutonium bomb. They had a uranium bomb, and that was Little Boy. That was the one they dropped on Hiroshima.
Yeah.
And Fat Man was the big one, the plutonium bomb that they dropped on Nagasaki. The reason Nagasaki didn't do as much damage is because it was not actually the originally intended target, because it was actually at the bottom of the list. There was a list of targets that all of them were just too cloudy, and they weren't even going to drop it on Hiroshima. Nagasaki, it was too cloudy, but they just did it anyway. And Nagasaki is in a very hilly, mountainous area, so I mean that kind of protected it from the blast, so from some of the blast. So it didn't do, but
ironically, for a bigger bomb, it didn't do as much damage.
Exactly.
And as terrifying and as awful as the bombings were, it made Japan surrender. It ended World War II, and Tojo got executed.
And the thing is, what I was going to say though is, even after the 2 bombs, even after the Soviet Union jumped into the war, the Japanese Supreme Council that was running Japan was still deadlocked 3 apiece. It took the emperor in doing something unprecedented and stepping in to break the tie and saying, we have to do the unthinkable. Because in his speech, he didn't even mention the word surrender. He said, we must endure the unendurable.
Yeah.
Yeah. He did not even use the word surrender. I mean, and this was the shock, because people had never heard the emperor's voice before.
And you know what? After all this happened, Rob, we got anime. So it's a win-win.
Exactly.
And we got the sequel to Oppenheimer, Godzilla -1.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, honestly, I don't think it's a film that's either necessarily pro or anti-nuke. It's just kind of.
It's just, again, it's what the news should be, presenting information. Again, what a thought. Crazy, right? Not having a biased view on something. Fucking.
And we have another comment. Biggest question I have is, where does Nolan go from here? What film or topic would you pitch to him? That's a very, very good question.
I would say at this point, because he did mention it in an interview when doing press for Oppenheimer, I just say let the man have some fun. Let him do a James Bond movie. Like just fucking let him. That would be so fun to see, and he would just be like, he's going back to an IP. I mean, obviously he's gonna like, treat it seriously because it's Nolan, but like just let him have a little bit of fun. This was a lot. This was draining probably, but so just let the man just have a little bit of fun, and then he can go off to do something a little bit more serious. I would be about World War I, because those are getting a bit more love nowadays.
Yeah. True.
Isn't Dunkirk World War I? Or was that World War II? That was World War II. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, two? Okay.
I would love to see Christopher Nolan do a James Bond movie.
Yeah.
You know, that would be pretty cool.
He could do a slapstick comedy.
Yeah. Callum did make
more like Roger Moore movies. Yes, perfect.
Yeah. Although Callum Moore did make a very good point about that. He's like, although I'd like to see him do one day, it would probably be too much like the Craig films. They probably need to go to a different direction.
Yeah.
Like Roger Moore. So I mean, although still, honestly, I would still be up for it. I'd still
me too.
For that.
Me too. I would love to see another James Bond movie.
Well, plus, I mean, it'd be a massive hit, and that would get him, just like doing the Dark Knight trilogy, that got him the credit to do whatever the hell he wanted to. This would once again just establish that, and they would just let the guy do whatever the hell he wants.
Oh yeah.
I would like to see him do a horror movie.
Yeah, at the very least,
something different.
I don't think he could ever do like I think he could do like more like psychological thriller type of thing.
I would see more of
like something like Jacob's Ladder. I think he would be really good at, like in terms of discerning what's reality and what isn't. I think Nolan could do that very, very well.
Yeah,
I mean,
isn't Memento a psychological? Isn't Memento like Insomnia? Stage, aren't those like psychological thrillers?
Kind of,
but like more mystery,
more like
mystery,
a suspense drama. Mystery kind of.
Yeah,
a little bit more.
Although, I mean,
can almost be described as a crime thriller almost.
Yeah. You could do some kind of a psychological thriller though with a spy film. There's a lot you could do with that. Yeah. It doesn't have to be a straight up bang bang shoot 'em up like say.
I mean, come on. I mean that scene in Casino Royale where Bond is tied to the chair. I think that's horror for any guy that's watching.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
I mean, guys,
would you guys agree? I mean, obviously. Sorry.
No, I was gonna piggyback off Casino Royale and how like Daniel Craig just laughs in that whole scene, making fun of Matt Mickelson.
Yeah, Matt Mickelson.
Matt Mickelson. Yeah,
that was a good scene.
Fantastic.
That is a good scene.
And would you guys agree? Even though this movie, because I know there are people calling this a horror movie, it's not a horror movie, but it is
a horrific movie.
Yeah,
it is horrific.
Horrific.
Yeah, the horrific consequences. Like the very last scene is disturbing.
Oh, it is
disturbing. Yeah. Oh yeah, those last few shots. I mean,
the last few shots.
Yeah, nuclear war. It's like he's reminding us this is still a possibility. That's why I mentioned it's something we're still living with. I mean, we're not out of the woods yet just because the Cold War is over. Because now there may be a new Cold War starting.
Yeah,
I mean, there's so many more nations.
It's like after what he did and inspired a bunch of these other nukes. It's like, should we be grateful for what he did for saving us for World War II, or should we fear for what he did? You know,
like you said. I mean, there may come a day when people curse the name of Los Alamos.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
it goes back to that
as Edward Teller said,
Einstein.
until somebody builds a bigger bomb.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we're never gonna experience peace for a little bit, but then it's gonna get bigger and bigger and bigger until we can't sustain that anymore, and somebody's gonna push that button.
To quote Adam West, sometimes you can't get rid of a bomb.
Absolutely.
Well, I was actually going to say the exact same thing.
I was trying to say that the scene between Oppenheimer and Einstein at the very end, when you hear what they were talking about nuclear and what he gave him for I was going to say the ingredients, but the formula.
Yeah.
and then them talk about nuclear and how that's what he gave him could have ended the whole world.
I like how
Yeah.
Strauss was claiming that he's so self-important, he's so narcissistic, and yet he claimed that they were talking about him when they really weren't.
Yeah.
I felt that kind of neatly tied everything to that story arc together.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, I mean, it's obvious Strauss was very narcissistic himself.
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah, of course. I mean, I love what that scene with Einstein at the end, where he says, that formula I showed you where, the possibility that we might destroy the world. He's like, I think we have. And, it's like, and I love what Einstein says to him. It's like, now it's your turn to sit around and have them give all you these awards while they take your work and go past it and wonder about the consequences of what it is you've done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
by the way,
It's such
I
a
think I
chilling
was
thing.
easily, and I think I'd say I was the only one who saw Gary Oldman. I was like, oh yeah, it's Gary Oldman. Like immediately once they showed him, I was like,
How?
To the
like
credit.
I imagine.
How?
Because the thing is, I remember his makeup during Darkest Hour, and he looked very the same, with the heavy makeup. So I'm like, Gary Oldman, there he is. But I like how they included that scene where Harry Truman was just being a fucking total asshole. He's like, don't bring that fucking crybaby back in here. And I'm like, you fucking sack
That's
of
another
shit.
positive
Which
for
is
this
a very
movie.
Truman thing to say, too.
I know, right?
No, it is.
That is another positive for this movie. There are moments in this movie that are actually really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
pretty much Matt Damon, as my friend claimed, Matt Damon was sort of the everyman,
Yeah.
kind of
Good point.
giving levity to the whole thing because he didn't
Mhm.
understand what was going on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he really is like a Doctor Who companion. He is the human that doesn't understand anything.
that's a
So
great
you
point.
need
Yeah.
to keep asking,
Analogy.
what are you fucking talking about? I don't know physics.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
I don't know if anyone else laughed, but I loved but I thought it was hilarious during one of the parts where Oppenheimer's being interviewed. Kitty sees Florence Pugh riding him, and she's just eyeing her the whole time. I thought that was hilarious.
That was
I
fun.
like, man,
Yeah.
I'm like, that's real. Both my friends who I saw this with, they're like, yeah, that was a really fucking weird scene. I don't know why they fucking included that.
It's just from
But
her perspective.
I know
Yeah,
it's like doing the artsy thing. It's like, all right, I
Yeah.
can see what he's doing, but still,
Yeah.
All that, and I mean, come on, let's be honest here. Florence Pugh is hot as fuck.
She really.
the biggest
yeah.
laugh I got when they were like, when Strauss, it was revealed by Eldon Ehrenreich that he got denied a seat on the Senate. And he was like, who are the holdovers? This guy from Michigan, Kennedy, John F. Kennedy.
No, Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. Sorry, Mike. I don't know why I said Michigan. But yeah, Massachusetts. And I'm like, and I was like,
I'm like, Kennedy, fucking Kennedy. Did I not
Kennedy.
say that? I said,
Yeah, I heard you say that. Yes.
my friend next to me said Kennedy, exactly when he said it. I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
I said Kennedy. Yes.
Yeah, I heard you say that.
Hashtag Louis Strauss caused the Kennedy assassination.
Yes, exactly.
Oh God, don't let Oliver Stone hear you. He might make a movie about it.
He probably
Oh
will.
God, yeah, I love this.
He will.
I love this. Protect some UV rays.
I know.
What's going to
I'm
stop the
really
windshield?
All right.
What's going to stop the windshield? Seriously, it's not going to not going to do much against gamma rays. I'll tell you that.
I know, right?
Jeez, yeah. Oh God, that was crazy. Jeez.
It was.
I like
And to the left, back and to the left.
Yeah.
And I liked Edward Teller fucking covering himself in sunscreen. I'm like, yeah, I
That
probably
was
do
funny.
Oh yeah, that was.
Yeah. But I mean, that's kind of how it is. I love the explosion because that's kind of how it is. Because I mean, it's
I like how they.
See the
I
flash
love how they
here.
do that. Again, the sound mixing in this was really fucking good. And I was like, man, was somebody pushing back against Nolan to fucking be like, hey, nobody can understand your fucking movies anymore. Fucking just have the people hear the goddamn dialogue. And he's like, damn, okay.
And that is part of one of the biggest reasons why I hated Tenet so much was the movie was just constant exposition and all the characters were talking so goddamn fast and all you could hear was it was annoying.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hey, did any of you guys like jump or anybody in your theater jump when they heard the big noise from the atomic bomb?
When they did the first
I did.
explosion on screen,
Yeah.
it wasn't even
Yeah,
for the
I
nuke;
did.
it was for the little explosion. Like, because it was like delayed, and I like how they did that because the sound comes from
yes.
the sonic boom, not from the
exactly.
explosion.
Oh, the sonic boom.
And so even though I kind of expected, I was still
Yeah.
like, I still jumped.
I noticed
Oh,
that.
yeah.
That was
me
very.
too.
Oh, that was too. Yeah.
I like how there was still
for
a
you.
moment. I still liked how there was still anticipation, even after the nuke was dropped. Like, when's the sonic boom gonna hit? And
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
it was just like a succession of like
Yeah.
who experiences. I'm like, damn,
It's just
that's
like
cool.
silence, and then you wait, and then all of a sudden, boom.
Mhm.
You know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a crazy good film. Jesus.
Oh, it is.
He's really
It's
out.
so
It
good.
is.
Yeah.
So good.
I knew it was going to be good because I mean, honestly, I've loved it. I love his body of work. He's done incredible. You know?
Are you glad that this was actually your first IMAX experience, Mark?
Yes.
Oh,
Because the original.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go on.
I was just going to say, like, ever since this was announced,
Yeah.
since I saw that first trailer last year, my jaw just dropped. And like, I had to see this in IMAX.
Yeah, the weird thing is, I mean, like I said, Mark and we saw it at the same IMAX theater. We were supposed to see Avatar 2 in IMAX, but since AMC pretty much fucked us over by saying, "Oh yeah, we're closing the IMAX theater because we're upgrading our equipment or something," and then we had to go see it to the other theater, and just the morning before we went to go see it, look, IMAX tickets for Avatar 2
Right.
It's like, go for
I
it.
mean, it's better that you experience IMAX with Oppenheimer rather than fucking Avatar 2. I will say that.
I'm going to disagree because Avatar looked incredible. I would love to see it in IMAX.
She wasn't.
So.
I also like that, like every A-list actor you see, they all serve a purpose.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like they're there just like, hey, I'm here. It's more like we're here, and then we do something, and then it affects Oppenheimer.
I mean, the guy's
they all played a role.
He's got is like Wes Anderson. He just has a huge number of great actors who just want to work with him. You know, I mean,
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. He's one of those actors that everybody wants to work with. So, I mean, but I mean, Robert Downey Jr. was absolutely incredible. I could see
he
him
was great.
winning and Best Supporting Actor Oscar for this.
I can too.
I could see Cillian Murphy winning Best Actor.
I can feel this getting like fucking sweeped.
Oh, I could see. I can see.
I can see.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, I could see both of them getting at least some kind of nomination. I mean, I can't say about if they're going to win or not because we'd have to see what the rest of the year has in store for us. You know,
there's a lot of great stuff coming out. I mean, you have Napoleon. There's
Killers of the Flower Moon.
I mean,
Flower Moon.
Yeah.
So something else coming out. I forget.
I know Zach's
Rebel Moon.
Rebel Moon.
Creator is coming. The Creator looks really good. That was one of the
Creator. Oh, what about that? What about that, Mark? What about that one with the Paul Giamatti, the trailer with Paul Giamatti?
Oh,
the director of Sideways.
I forgot about that because I did see that yesterday for Barbie. The Holdovers. I mean,
the Holdovers.
That looks really good. Oh, guys, but what about the trailer that was an Oppenheimer exclusive, The Exorcist Believer?
Show him now!
Hold on.
Again?
Son of a...
Really?
Get him out of here.
Another Exorcist movie?
By
a new Exorcist movie.
By the way, and fun fact: when I saw noting that Frank Oppenheimer was Cameron from the Halloween and Halloween Kills too. Remember that?
Yeah, actually, you know what? As soon as I saw him, like, oh yeah, that guy.
And there was
Devin.
somebody else that was also in Halloween. Oh yeah, the Chevalier or whatever the fuck that guy's name was. He was Aaron
Chevalier?
Chevalier. He was Aaron, the podcaster in the first one.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
So two
that was-
Halloween alumni. Alumni.
Oh, Devin, do you want to tell everyone about who one of the writers of the new Exorcist movie is going to be?
Oh boy.
So one of the writers, Scott Thames, who wrote the story, also wrote Insidious: The Red Door, Halloween Kills, and Firestarter.
The new one. And this is going to be me.
You maniac! You blew it up! Oh, damn you! God damn you all to hell!
And you know what, Devin?
All,
You know
all
what?
the fucking goodwill of this franchise came from fucking Exorcist 3. Don't at me. Fucking
Bullshit. Just because you didn't
Fuck
like
no.
Exorcist does not mean Exorcist was not extremely important.
Oh, it's a classic.
It's an important
Exactly.
movie. It still sucks.
Exactly. No, it sucks to you,
No.
but I mean to millions of others, it's awesome.
Right? So I feel like I should just do my joke right now, but that dumbass scene where the girl was like, "Body in the blood, body in the blood." I don't know why. Just it was giving me like you know how like those churches where everyone's just singing and dancing
Yeah.
and they're like getting into the music. It was what it reminded me of. So Bob and John, I want you to just clap like this.
No, I'm not buying it.
All right, snap your fingers to the beat like this. The body and the blood. Body and the blood. Come on, Mark, sing along. Body and the blood. Hey, body and the blood. All right. They said, take this, all of you, and eat from it. For this is my body, which will be given up for you. This is the chalice of my blood. Do this in the memory of me.
Body in the blood. Body in the blood.
The body and the blood. Hey,
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready? Ready!
Good time.
That's a classic.
Trailer didn't look scary.
No, it did.
I mean, to me, I'm not on the hate wagon with the trailer. It just looks kind of meh.
Yeah,
Like every generic
I thought it looked fine. Like I will say, the last few clips were a little bit like, yeah, I got some goosebumps, but outside of that, it was like, yeah, it was fine. It was.
You serious?
But it was mainly because of like a lot of the jump scares, which I'm like, okay, this is gonna be jump scare heavy. It's just gonna be another exorcism movie.
Thank you.
It just has the Exorcist branding. That's all it's gonna be. It's just gonna be just like how the fucking Evil Dead remake. It was a shitty Cabin in the Woods movie that just so happened to have the IP slapped on it.
Yeah.
That's essentially what it is.
Yep.
And all they did is the only reason anybody's excited about it because they heard Tubular Bells. So does that song played? Ding 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 ding. You know, people say, "Oh, that sounds great." It doesn't. No.
Like I told you guys,
It's
my
not
whole
the way it
theater
is.
laughed when they heard that theme song. They're like, oh,
I did get a
one?
couple chucklers in my theater,
Oh,
not
really?
like
Another
everyone
one?
uproaring, but I got a few chucklers
Yeah.
in mine.
Yeah.
Oh my god, like the CGI, and they're clearly using CGI for like the demonic faces. Like on the other girl, oh my fucking god, it looked terrible.
Yeah.
And the only thing I'll give it credit for was it paid homage to the original band trailer, like at the very end. I'm like, all right, that was cool. But other than that, this is the guy who sidelined the two main characters and had Michael get his ass beat. This is made by the same guy who had a bunch of people chase Danny DeVito around the hospital like Benny Hill and have a bunch of dumbasses chant "Evil dies tonight." I have no faith in this asshole after those two piles of shit.
I
fact that this is
know,
going
I
to be
can't
a
wait for it.
trilogy.
I cannot fucking wait for this
and then-
trilogy to be canceled after one movie when this fucking thing bombs.
Oh my god, I'm gonna love it.
Celebrating.
It's gonna be hilarious because the thing is, I'm not on the David Gordon Green hate train like everybody else is. So
I'm the conductor.
But I think he's a
All aboard,
perfectly okay filmmaker. I mean, he's not like fucking Tommy Wiseau, so I'll give him that. But I'll like probably like similar to Halloween Kills. It won't be good, but I'll enjoy my time with it. Like that's pretty much it.
And then Zach just entered the chat and he's typing up right now.
Yep.
Zach. Great, does it again. Two demonically possessed girls for the price of one.
Exactly.
Two, because it's a sequel.
Actually, it wouldn't even be for the price of one anymore because with how ticket sales are, it's two for the price of like 5 at this point.
If you're going to do something, why not do something based on the actual story that it was
They already do that.
that inspired it? Because I've read the book about the actual demon possession on which the exorcism was based, on which the book The Exorcist.
You want to know why they didn't do a movie on it? Because it's all fucking fake. Nobody actually fucking gets possessed.
Yes, I know that, but I mean, still, if you're going, but shit. So just saying.
I would say I can understand why they maybe didn't go with this because the thing is, there was a TV show about the Exorcist TV show. It lasted like 2 seasons. I heard it was very good.
Oh, it's fantastic.
With Gina Davis as Reagan, I believe, and like she's like trying to like survive and like dealing with all this stuff. That could have been interesting as well, like the aftermath of this. I mean, Devin did mention like why are they bringing Ellen Burstyn back? Why aren't they bringing Reagan
Bring back Linda Blair.
Oh, Jesus Christ! I mean, just bring back
She's
Linda Blair.
still alive.
I mean, she's back in a
I
cameo.
think maybe
That's
because again it's like Jamie Lee Curtis is the older thing, so they're bringing that in, and maybe they're bringing Ellen Burstyn in just in case if she kicks the bucket anytime soon, they can like have her in for one last Exorcist movie. That's entirely possible why they're doing it. I don't know.
Problem is, it makes sense to have Reagan come back because she was actually possessed by Pazuzu.
Yeah.
And is Pazuzu possessing 2 people at the same time?
Yes, that's what he's doing. He's possessing 2 people.
Can demons do that?
Dumb.
Go ahead.
I guess Pazuzu could just. There's like all different types of Pazuzus around. Like one part's like, oh, I'm gonna go here, oh, I'm gonna go there, go there, go there, go there, go there.
I was actually wrong. The Exorcist TV series isn't about Reagan; it's just about a pair of priests dealing with exorcisms.
Well, the thing is, like, because I've seen the show, season 1, like when you meet Reagan, she's not Reagan anymore. You learn later that it is a sequel that Reagan put it behind her. She really tried to move forward, but somehow Pazuzu possesses her daughter, and towards the end, she confronts Pazuzu. It's a really great story how they really executed the whole thing for a TV show. Because it becomes
I have heard
at the end.
My friend watched it, and they said it was very good. So, I mean, I did consider watching it. Ew. Devin, why are you holding garbage in front of you?
That is
backstage for the rest of this stream, please.
I was gonna say, says the guy that likes Halloween Ends.
Thank you.
Evil dies tonight.
Yeah, well, the guy who likes Cunty Cunningham.
Yeah, walk away. Walk away.
Yeah, you think about what you did.
Exactly. You know why?
Bullshit. I am the captain of this ship. I say where it has to go.
Nice.
And yes, Exorcist 3 is a damn good movie.
Actual best Exorcist movie.
100%.
This is all you fucking need to see. This greatness right fucking here.
No.
This
well,
is
first of all, that's not even going to make sense without seeing The Exorcist first. I mean,
honestly, just watch Exorcist 1.
Yeah.
Watch Exorcist 3.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
There you go.
And watch season 1. The TV show.
There we go. Just don't watch Exorcist 2. But now let's ask the question: will this one be better or worse than Exorcist 2 or Dominion?
Because the thing is with Dominion and then Exorcist, the beginning, it's like the same movie but done by two different filmmakers because they got cold feet. So there was like a whole rigmarole with the fucking fourth movie. So
Yeah.
Let me ask you this to get back on track here. Since we're talking about a far better movie, if Christopher Nolan were to do a horror movie, what kind of horror movie do you think he would do?
Something like American Psycho. No, like American Psycho, maybe a Psycho off Hitchcock's Psycho.
Some kind of a thriller.
Yes.
It would be very, very grounded, I think. Like something like that. And again, I think he could do like a reality bending Jacob's Ladder type of thing very well. I think that would be right in his wheelhouse. I mean, it would be certainly interesting if he did do a demon possessing movie. That would be.
Oh God, yeah, Jesus!
I would love to see him try.
Imagine if Nolan actually tried to do instead of Ari Aster. Do you think Nolan would have made Beau Was Afraid a better movie?
No, but it can. Here's the thing: you can make a bad movie out of a good script. It's damn near impossible to make a good movie out of a bad script.
Yeah.
That is true.
Exactly. So if he were to make Beau Was Afraid, he would pretty much have to rewrite 95% of the script.
95. He would have to rewrite 110% of the script, if that's possible.
He's not going to say like, but what about the penis monster? Are you still going to include that?
And then Nolan just shoots him.
How about no? How about no?
I mean, honestly, I don't. If Nolan would do a horror movie, I don't see him like doing something with like a big like CGI like monsters or anything.
No.
It would have to be more realistic, more grounded.
Like similar to whatever Robert Eggers is doing, because I feel like that's like kind of in the same.
I agree.
House.
Yeah,
that would work.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I'd love to see him. Actually, I'd love to see him do another sci-fi movie.
I know that the only thing is just the fact that I mean, it's a little risky if they're trying to do a different kind of movie. I mean, like this goes for any director, by the way, because I mean, think of Alex Garland. He did give us I think I really like Annihilation and Ex Machina. I think he should just stick with original sci-fi, because when he tried to do horror with men, it didn't work.
Men.
Men.
But to be fair, he did write 28 Days Later. That is a great movie.
Yeah, that is true.
He wrote Dread, and Dread is fantastic.
Oh, I love Dread. I love Dread.
Speaking of which, they're doing a 28 years later. 8 years later,
because I know they came out with a sequel called 28 Weeks Later or something.
Yes, 28. Everybody wanted one 28 years later. It would make sense, right? Because at the end of 28 weeks later, spoiler alert, you see zombies running out the tunnel into the you see the Eiffel Tower in the background. It's like, oh shit, they're in Paris.
Yeah.
I would say, I know nobody's going to agree with me on this, but I think 28 Weeks Later was better than 28 Days Later.
I still got to watch that
one. I've seen 28 Days Later, but I haven't seen 28 Weeks Later though.
28 Weeks Later was like surprisingly really good. Like it was so good.
Yeah, I remember it being
Is it still the same people who made 28 Days Later?
No, all different people. Different people.
Yeah.
Different people.
But I liked them both. I mean, different reasons, both very different. I think 28 Weeks Later, more action oriented, kind of like the difference between Alien and Aliens a little bit.
Yeah, that was also, speaking of Cillian Murphy. I was very upset in this with Oppenheimer that you didn't see Cillian Murphy's Peaky Blinder.
Dude, I thought they were actually going to show it because
I thought they were going to show it
because
too,
he's sitting there and he's sitting there. It's covered. I thought he was just going to. I thought he was going to stand up and just flop.
Yeah,
just like
I thought he was just going to uncross his legs. Yeah, I expected.
Oh yeah,
I'd like full on Basic Instinct, just uncross and just flop.
Or the very ending of Boogie Nights.
Just be like,
Chris
this
just
is
look at
the
his
real
dick in the
atom
mirror.
bomb. This is the real atom bomb, and then zips his pants and walks out.
Oh God. But I mean, yeah, fantastic movie. I love Florence Pugh in that film. I loved her character.
Oh yeah, that
It's
is
very
very.
interesting.
Is it just because
Yeah.
you saw her boobs, Mark?
Well, yeah, of course, but I mean,
Yeah, they're
that's-
both.
Fat nipples, though. I really.
yeah,
That's
dear
a good
God,
movie.
yeah. They're real and they're spectacular.
Absolutely. Wasn't a stunt girl. It was actually hers. Because Christopher
It was
Nolan does not
actually
like
her.
face.
Yeah, she did it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You go,
My
girl.
friend actually said, he's like, how much you want to bet that Florence Pugh pushed for that? Because Nolan doesn't do nude scenes, so it's like, how much you want to bet that fucking whore?
I would not
fucking
be
shit.
surprised. I mean, yeah,
Hey, we got our money's worth.
Hey,
Yeah.
this
Oh,
ain't
yeah.
Marvel anymore.
exactly. Our theater was really packed.
Oh, it was.
It
Our
was
theater
packed.
was
Yeah.
packed.
Was full.
Maybe not like the
And
very
remember-
bottom, but like all along the like
And remember, Mark, we went to a 10:30 in the morning showing.
10:30 in the
Oh.
morning. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Damn.
Yes, it was packed.
it was.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
these
there
two
was-
movies are going to make a
And-
ton of money.
And that.
Oh yeah.
No,
Yeah. I'm glad to see it, honestly, because I mean theaters need it. So I mean,
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
hey,
As
So-
much as I joke, I do want to say this. As much as I jokingly shit on Barbie, I'm glad people are seeing. Even though I don't agree with the subject matter, I'm
Barbie,
glad
Barbie.
people are seeing it, and like people are going to the cinema to see these like things actually being sold. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, the whole Barbenheimer craze is hilarious. It's great, all that stuff. But like, think about it. The 4 movies that are carrying us this year are Super Mario Brothers,
mhm.
Cross the Spider-Verse,
Yep.
Barbie, and Oppenheimer. Those are
Yep.
that's the
And
four
Guardians
movies to
3.
me. Those are the
Mission
movies.
Impossible.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
I
Guardians
don't, I don't
3.
know about Mission Impossible.
Well, what-
With
well,
Mission
what-
Impossible,
Guardians 3.
That's why I
I was
said
right on that
Guardians
one.
3.
Guardians 3.
He was right on this one. Guardians 3.
Yeah,
I'm
Guardians 3.
talking about sold out multiple
Yes,
showing.
exactly.
Yeah.
Those
Yes.
4 are the big ones.
Yes.
Guardians and Dead Reckoning, yes, but like lesser so. That's like
Yeah.
I would say those 4 are like top tier. I would say Guardians, Dead Reckoning, maybe a couple others are like kind of like right on
Second tier. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Intrigue did pretty good. I mean, for its budget, but I mean,
That was January. Nothing good was coming out.
I mean, as much as Ant-Man 3 was bad, a lot of people want to go see that.
Oh, they
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
it has the
Yep,
Marvel
it's Spy
level.
Kids 7.
So I mean, but I mean, I
And
don't know.
Screevy, surprisingly, Screevy had like a really good turnout.
Mine did. Yeah. My theater was packed for Screevy. And Creed 3, I would argue.
Devin,
Creed 3, yeah, Creed 3 was
Devin,
definitely-
when you were buying the tickets for Dead Reckoning, how was the theater? Was it sold out or no?
So I usually get my tickets if I know it's going to be like a big event movie. I get them like the day and the time they go on sale. So when I got the tickets, when I got our tickets, nobody got them yet.
Okay, because
Oh,
when
wow.
we did go to see, there was like maybe a handful of people, not a ton. From what I remember, but even then,
Yeah,
like,
it wasn't a big turnout, which surprised me.
yeah, I didn't think Dead Reckoning would be a big turnout. Like,
I mean,
'cause,
it
it wasn't going to be Maverick. Nothing was going to be Maverick.
No,
but-
I mean, so
No.
far it made 273 million for its first week. So that's not bad.
No,
Not
no,
bad.
not bad at all. I mean,
yeah, that's not bad.
well, final thoughts. We need to start to kind of wrap this up. We're going way over an hour, but so.
Mhm.
What do you guys? Final thoughts on Oppenheimer? I
Go
was-
see
Go
it
fucking
now.
see it, you cowards.
Turn
Great.
this,
Go watch it.
Excellent.
turn
Go
this
watch
Hold on,
live
wait.
stream off and go to your theater
Let him
right
talk.
now.
Let him talk. Devin, you go first.
Fantastic movie. Go see it. Very mind blowing.
Rob,
Great movie. Excellent movie. Go see it right now. Get off your ass and see it right now.
Rome,
It is cinema at its best. Go watch this movie in theaters.
bingo, and John.
It's a culmination of everything that Nolan has worked hard to portray on film, and you need to see it. Even if you don't necessarily like the subject matter, you should see it anyway. It is important and it's extraordinary.
It really is.
Yeah, it
This is a true masterpiece. I mean, I know we might maybe throw that word around a lot, but this is a true masterpiece. So,
Easily.
our overall judgment.
Yes, we do.
All right, and that'll do it for us for the cool kids.
And
Thank you very much.
We need to announce the next movie we're going to be.
Oh
doing.
yes, we do. And our next movie, Rob, you want to take the honors?
The next movie we're going to be doing is going on the Barbenheimer trend. I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. And it's going to be hosted by Rome.
Let Aqua do that, Rob, please, for the love of
Fuck
God.
off. Fuck
In
off.
the words of Simon Cowell, you are absolutely terrible.
I know I can't sing for shit. Give me a fucking break. Let's say you do
No,
any
fuck
better.
you. I'm not giving you a break. That sucked. Get the fuck out of here.
Goodbye.
Okay, listen, you do better. You do better,
Bye.
asshole.
Goodbye. Once again, we have brought light into the world.